The children do say they've never had any sexual experiences with adults or other children, but they become extremely agitated when we ask them about Moses David Berg's teachings on sex.
My Little Fish. Now, your father described that as a routine publication. That entails graphic sex.
Who had this? I'm not having sex. They're just kissing and hugging in bed. That's not sex.
April is very upset the 2020s obtained a copy of My Little Fish. Ex-members tell us the cult leaders say it should be kept secret.
If you show it to other people, they don't understand. That stuff's not supposed to be publicized. So many people think sex is wrong. So many people hate us. But we just telling them the truth. We're just telling them it's not wrong. We're just telling them that there's nothing wrong with it. And here comes these publicizers doing them to everybody, making everybody think it's wrong.
This is printed and circulated.
But why do you need it? You don't need it.
It's not a private doc. It's printed and widely circulated around the world.
You're not supposed to have it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So much going on.
Yes. Where do we begin?
Well, first, we have a little clip here. This was inside a Mormon church, and I didn't hear back from New Name Noah whether I could mirror the whole video or not, so I'm just going to show a little clip of it.
Yes. And it's interesting to see that as this woman gives her testimony about a child abuser, a pedophile in the Mormon church, you can tell that the indoctrination works, because at one point the church gets up and starts singing a hymn to drown out what she's saying, because they don't want to hear it. You know, just like the Jehovah's Witnesses, la 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 la, la la, apostate driven lies, la 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 la, oh no, just greedy lawyers, la 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 la. Religion has to realize that the number of people, such as Kim and myself, and other ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, other ex-Mormons, we've had enough of the BS. Because we're studying, we're researching, and we're seeing exactly how this mechanism is being played out.
And I am here today because it's my job to warn you. There are many new people who don't know what's happened. And you have people that have enabled and protected a pedophile. Your children are not safe with them.
I think this is not the place to talk about it. I'd be happy to talk to you after. This is a testimony meeting where we have reserved to provide testimony. Okay. Actually, you're not. I would be happy to talk with you.
Your children are not safe.
We can discuss this. I'd be happy to discuss this.
They hid a pedophile from the police along with Stephen when he was sent home from his mission.
That is not.
It is in the facts.
No.
You can check the transcripts from court.
No. I would be.
I believe in my Christ too. Please know that your children are not safe.
Your church attacked and protected a pedophile. He abused my children with the knowledge. Your members housed him in the meeting house. Housed him and then put him in the home of a family member who did not know that he had already assaulted children in Utah.
Now, what is sad is that a Jehovah's Witness will watch this video and say, oh my God, you know, that's horrible. You know, look at, they have a pedophile problem in their church and they don't even want to hear about it. This is disgusting.
They'll actually sing that out from the rooftops.
Yeah, but yet when it's in their same you know, in their church, you know, their kingdom halls of someone doing this, oh, well, it's apostate lies. These are false accusations. And, I mean, the hypocrisy is just unbelievable. You know, a Mormon will watch, you know, an XJW activist video of them doing this in a kingdom hall and say, oh, look at the Jehovah's Witnesses, isn't that disgusting? But yet when it happens in their own temple or, you know, whatever they call it, I mean, it's just mind-boggling. But the point is there's many of us activists, and it isn't just XJWs.
No, it's not.
It's all religions. You know, I've seen videos from ex-Jewish, Orthodox Jewish, you know, people. I've seen, you know, videos from Islam, from Muslims, you know, Mormons, Catholics, Baptists, Seventh-day Adventists, and they're all speaking out. So there's a bigger picture here.
Yes.
And it's wonderful being part of all of this great awakening.
Yes. It's really interesting because, you know, like the clip we just showed, you can see the mind control that's taking place inside that Mormon church. But yet the same technique works within the Kingdom Hall, because you will see an elder up on the platform, whether he's conducting a book study, whether he's conducting a Watchtower study that talks about child abuse and or bashing another religion. It's interesting to watch how that study conductor, an elder who more than likely has sat on numerous judicial hearings regarding a fellow member abusing a child, and yet that same elder will conduct a book study or a Watchtower study, and he'll ask questions, and the rank and file will put their hands up, and if that elder who is mindful of the child abuse doesn't get the answer he's looking for, he'll ask another question, and then the answer he's looking for, oh, see, these are just apostate-driven lies. These are just greedy lawyers. This is Satan's system of things attacking God's people. It's lies. It's mind control. Because that elder, I guarantee you, in one way or another, is trying to ease his own conscience, because he sat in on these hearings, and now he's trying to make himself feel all warm and fuzzy by getting the congregation to admit that these are all lies. This is just wolves in sheep's clothing.
Well, I actually talked to an ex-elder day before yesterday, I think it was, and his wife. And the thing is these videos, those who used to be elders and have left, it's making them think. And it's making them, you know, realize, oh my God, you know, what did I do? And the thing is these, you know, honest-hearted elders, you know, God bless them, you know, because they're traumatized now for what they had to do as a company man. And I just want to say, you know, guys, don't beat yourself up. You were just doing what you thought was right. You know, this isn't totally your fault. You know, this is the corporation we were all part of. We all thought this was the truth. So, you know, and he hopefully can write out his story, and he's going to be sending it to us so that we can tell. But the point I want to make is Watchtower keeps them ignorant also, guys. He told me that the state he lived in, he did not know it was a mandatory reporting state. He only went by what he was told in his elders, the school they go to, the elders school. You know, so they kept him ignorant of what was going on.
It just shows how effective the mind control is, from the board of directors down to the governing puppets, down to the governing circuit overseers, down to the governing elders, down to the ignorant rank and file. That's how effective the mind control is.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, it's great to hear, you know, their side of it as they're waking up with all of this going on, and they're like, oh my God, what did I do? What was I part of? Because I didn't know all of this stuff. I expected Watchtower to be telling me the truth. And oh boy, has he got some stories, let me tell you. So we look forward, to being able to do some of that. But, before Mike gets into what he needs to do, I just want to make a point here. My personal opinion. Watchtower has always said, one of their prophecies about the Great Tribulation has been that the governments, at the start of the Great Tribulation, the governments would turn on religion. And then when all other religions were gone, they would see that Jehovah's Witnesses was the one left, and then they would turn on them, and it would be like touching Jehovah's eyeball, and it would be immediate destruction. I just want to say,
touched.
Look at this, guys. This is another false prophet. This is another false prophecy that we've been hearing ever since we were kids. 50-something years. So this is just another nail in their coffin as a false prophet, because they're being lumped in with all these other religions. And who would have thought, Watchtower, that it wouldn't be the government turning on you guys? It would be your own ex-members.
That's right.
And same thing with the Mormon Church. Who would have it wouldn't be the governments. It would be your own ex-members.
Well, here's the problem that Watchtower has created, and the mindless rank and file got sucked right into it. So did Kim and I for a time. You see, what you have is a Jehovah's Witness elder moved from one congregation to another, and immediately that elder does not have the voice of a stranger. He comes into this congregation, although a perfect stranger, but the Jehovah's Witnesses have been lulled into believing they're not a stranger. But yet us ex-members who have family members, we are the ones that are told have the voice of a stranger. To my mother, to my cousins, to my uncles, I'm not a stranger to you. But that elder that comes in from another congregation that leads you into believing that these are apostate-driven lies right now regarding child abuse and whatever, they're the strangers. Figure this out. It's not hard. It's not hard to see the mind control at work among these religious groups.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to show you how much further the mind control really goes, and that it's been at play for centuries, for millennia. For all of us ex-Jehovah's Witnesses that are familiar with the Bible, we will recall a passage, I don't know if it's in Deuteronomy, in Leviticus, wherever it is, but we all know it's there, and when I say it, it's going to recall the mind. Yahweh, Jehovah, tells the Israelites not to form not only marriage alliance with the surrounding nations, which, they did do, because somebody had to form a marriage alignment with Rahab, the Canaanite, to produce Jesus in the line. So there's that marriage bond that they were told not to do, but they did do. They were also told not to form any alliances with the surrounding kings. They did that. That's exactly what they did. Okay? Now, more closer to home. I've been reading the book of Maccabees, from the New Jerusalem. What's that say? Bible. The New Jerusalem Bible. It's not the New World Translation. It's not the King James Version. This is the New Jerusalem Bible that has in it the missing books or the lost books of the Bible. Now, we're all told that we shouldn't be reading these because these are not inspired of God.
You heretic.
I'm a heretic. But see, that's the same circular reasoning that the Watchtower Bible Tract Society has used for years. See, The only reason why we are told this is the inerrant word of God is because this book tells you that. Okay? The problem that this presents, especially like in the book of Maccabees, if you look at the Maccabean history, this happened during the Greek occupation of the Holy Land at that time.
Well, it's interesting. I was just going to say, Watchtower will actually quote from the New Jerusalem Bible when it suits their purpose.
When it suits them. But if you take the time to research the history and learn what's going on, it becomes a huge eye-opener. Now, I'm not going to go into any great detail, but I'm going to read from 1 Maccabees chapter 8. And I'm going to go over to verse 17. And it's interesting that as I've been reading this, I have not seen the word Yahweh appear one single time. In fact, in chapter...
Or Jehovah.
Or Jehovah. In chapter 7, they talk about a battle that's going on with the Greeks. And it's interesting because they quote from a previous battle with Sennacherib's army when, Jehovah's angel slew 185,000 men. Well, they make a similar prayer, and lo and behold, they get the victory. But in chapter 8, something else happens. Because that didn't end the oppression with the Greeks. Okay, I'm going to read chapter 8, verse 1. Now Judas, who is, the main character in the story of the Maccabees, which was of the Aaronic priestly line, had heard of the reputation of the Romans, how strong they were, and how well disposed towards any who made common cause with them, making a treaty of friendship with anyone who approached them. Now going up to verse 17, I'm going to have a problem with the names here. Having chosen Eupolemus, son of John, of the family of Achos, and Jason, son of Eleazar, Judas sent them to Rome to make a treaty of friendship, an alliance with these people, in the hope of being rid of the yoke, for they could see that Greek rule was reducing Israel to slavery. Why didn't they turn to Yahweh? Jehovah. They turned to the Romans for help. But
we see how well that went.
Oh yeah. We see how well that turned out for these
Maccabees.
Maccabees. Yeah, we see how well that turned out, don't we? But see, here's the problem. Even in the ex-Jehovah Witness community, Kim and I still hear ex-Jehovah's Witnesses saying, "Oh, the Israelites, they're God's chosen people." But their own sacred text says, "Don't turn to the nations." But they did. Time and time and time again. They did that. Going on, Judas Maccabeus and his brothers with the Jewish people have sent us to you to conclude a treaty of alliance and peace with you, and to enroll ourselves as your allies and friends. The proposal met with the approval of the senators. You're talking about the Roman Senate. Here is a copy of the rescript, which they engraved on bronze tablets and sent to Jerusalem to be kept thereby the Jews as a record of peace and alliance. And it goes on and it quotes what's on that treaty.
Well, I've even had discussions, with another ex-JW YouTuber about this particular incident. The temple was destroyed and they rebuilt it, and when they rededicated it, that is what became the holiday of Hanukkah. Now, I said, so the temple that was destroyed, that was rebuilt back in I forget what.
587 or like...
No,
yeah,
because that was the first one.
Okay.
There was Solomon's Temple. That was
destroyed by the Babylonians.
in 587, 586,
Yeah.
587. So they rebuilt it. The Greeks destroyed that one.
And
the Maccabees rebuilt this one. So that was the second temple. The third temple in
Herod's.
Jerusalem in 70 CE, that was the third temple. It was destroyed. So that's why I have a problem with this. The third temple is going to be rebuilt and, bring the Antichrist. No, because when you read this, the three temples have already been here and destroyed.
And what you have to realize, friends, is that when you read the book of Maccabees, you will see that the Greeks got into the temple, got their holy writings, and burned them and destroyed them. And destroyed and killed anybody that had copies of what we now call the Old Testament.
And they also put their pagan idol, they think it may have been Zeus, in the temple. So, isn't that Daniel's prophecy of something disgusting in a holy place?
In a holy place. See, this is why...
That's why they took it out of the Bible.
That's why Jehovah's Witnesses, you're told, don't study and research, only listen to what Watchtower tells you, because they don't want you seeing this. Because it becomes too obvious what's going on. Now, the problem that this presents for the Watchtower Bible Tract Society, Babel Crap Society, is that they'll go to the book of Revelation talking about Babylon the Great and how the governments are going to turn on them and they're going to shut them down in one great swift. She is gone and everybody will be looking for her and she's nowhere to be seen. But the Watchtower Bible Tract Society has turned and formed an alliance with the government. You should be learning from history, Jehovah's Witnesses, that every time these ancient Israelites turned to a government for help, they got taken down. And it got real ugly. It got real ugly.
So what has Watchtower done about their ban in Russia? They've turned to the OSCE as an NGO. They've turned to the United Nations for help and all these other nations. So instead of trying to get their God Jehovah's, help in all of their problems and being banned, they're making alliances with Satan's world. But yet Satan's world is bashing them for their child abuse problem. Oh, well, this is Satan's world. We're not going to believe them. But yet they go to them for help. I mean, am I the only one that says this hypocrisy is just ludicrous?
No, because Ugly Watchtower sees it because she just put up a video with the news article in Belarus.
Belarus. Good job, sweetie.
Greek Orthodox Church got one of their marches had a halt put to it because the state says if you're going from point A to point B, that's not sacred ground. That's that's state property, excuse me. In being state property, you will pay us for protection. And they couldn't afford it.
So that video reminded me of something in my archives, and I want to thank Trevor, because Trevor has been sending so much information. It's difficult for me to go through all of it, but I save it all to a folder, and I remember him sending me something about Jehovah's Witnesses and Belarus. So I went to my Beatzilla and I was looking through my files, and it's like, aha! So I just sent it to Ugly Watchtower and told her to have fun.
Have fun.
Because Jehovah's Witnesses is going to the OSCE, United Nations, crying for help in Belarus because they're not recognized as an official religion and they can't meet anywhere legally without permission. And all of their literature has to be rated and looked at before it comes in. So they're filing with the United Nations and the OSCE for relief from this persecution.
Well, there again, you've got to recognize Jehovah's Witnesses in particular, because this is who, we are primarily addressing. Even though we talk about other religious organizations, we primarily address Jehovah's Witnesses. When you read stories about the Maccabees and you realize that the Greeks destroyed their sacred writings. They burned them. They hunted down those Jewish people, burned copies of their own holy writings. Then then you read that they form an alliance with the Romans. Well, if their holy texts were burnt and destroyed, and they formed an alliance with the Romans, then how does this not become a Roman document?
Well, look at what the Roman Catholic Church did to it back in the 3rd and 4th centuries.
They still hunted down the heretics and killed them and burned other sacred writings.
Yeah.
When are we going to start thinking for ourselves? Oh, wait a minute. We are. That's why many of us, many of those religious zealots hate us, because we are thinking for ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, the thing is they've condemned us to hell and said all these horrible things about us. And it's like, okay, so you don't want us speaking out against what these religions are doing. Doesn't that make them hypocrites?
Well, look, okay, they'll take this Roman document and they will condemn gays, lesbians, homosexuals to death in a burning hell. In a burning hell. But yet...
Oh, and I hope you die at Armageddon.
Yeah, but yet, when you watch that opening clip inside that Mormon church, because the church itself stood up and spoke and started singing a hymn to drown out what the woman was saying, you condone pedophilia, child abuse. How is that any worse than condemning a homosexual, lesbian to hell? You condone evil works inside your churches. And Watchtower does the same very damn thing when you raise your little hand and you're prompted to answer, oh, these are just apostate, driven lies. This is just Satan's media. This is just greedy lawyers. You are condoning evil. You condemn anybody who's not up to your moral standard. You don't have a moral standard when you got to stand up and drown out the voice of a victim.
Well, the thing is I'm going to put the link down below to New Name Noah's video, and they've also done it in Spanish, so I'm going to put the link down below to that. You look at this, and this video has 64,486 views. It has 133 dislikes. So those dislikes, just like our videos, if you look under any of our videos that are hard-hitting against Watchtower, those dislikes, you've got to know that it's either Jehovah's Witnesses apologists or XJW members who don't like Watchtower being exposed for what they did. And, these ones on child abuse, these dislikes, like this one. So, are these condoning child abuse? It makes us wonder, whenever you see dislikes under a video, okay, these must be people that condone child abuse.
Yep.
Has nothing to do whether you like us or not. No.
Right.
It's whether you don't want Watchtower gone or you condone child abuse.
You condone it. See,
one or the other.
And this is the problem, because we're all told in this Roman document that in the beginning, the Garden of Eden, we were given a choice to decide for ourselves what is righteous and what is unrighteous, between good and evil, good and bad. Free will. We were given that choice. So why is it that these religions are choosing evil? Why is it that those who sit inside their kingdom halls and churches choose evil by going la 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 la?
When you do that, you're condoning the child abuse problem.
You're condoning evil works. We all have this choice. So why is it that the number of us that are righteously disposed are saying enough is enough with the evil works? This has got to end. We are choosing not to support evil.
But then look at, you know, the ones who attack ones who are speaking out.
You're condoning evil. Hey, you made the wrong choice.
You have chosen poorly.
Yes.
Yes. So I'm going to put a clip here from Goat-Like Personality. Thank you, sweetie, very much. There appears there's going to be a protest in October, and I wish we could go, but
Yeah.
you know, things just, you know, I can't travel, and this is Mike's busy time at work, you know, but we would love to be there in person, because it looks like it's going to be a more ex-Mormon and ex-Jehovah Witness
Joint effort
and protest. So
Yeah.
I'm going to put the link down below to his video, you know, with the information in it.
There's a lot of people who say you shouldn't do activism because you're triggering their persecution complex. So, because a cult like Jehovah's Witnesses, they say we're God's one true religion, so we're attacked by Satan. So whenever someone's protesting, it just proves us being right, because Satan is using the apostates to attack us. So they say we shouldn't do activism because it's just triggering their persecution complex. And some even refer to use loaded language and refer to what we are doing as aggressive activism. And we're not aggressive. But what do the witnesses say? I just came home from the protest in London. We were doing activism outside the Watchtower Convention, the JW Convention in London. And I like talking to the witnesses, and I always start with a positive. I say, we're not protesting the Jehovah's Witnesses. We love the Jehovah's Witnesses. We're protesting some of the guidelines from Watchtower that violate human rights. And what was special this time was that many of the witnesses would answer directly, we don't protect pedophiles. So they brought it up. It was in the top of their head. And that's a half a victory, because we got their attention. And they believe, because of the Watchtower study in May 2019, that, you know, we used to have a problem, but that's all sorted out now. And that's also half a victory, because they acknowledge that we used to have a problem and something needed to be done. It says, Letter of the Week. Thank excommunicated Mormons for progress. Hearing the announcement over the pulpit about the new hearing initiative for safeguarding Latter-day Saint youth from predatory leaders made me grateful for the work of former members of the church who were forced to sacrifice their membership in order to bring about these changes. Without the advocacy of people like Sam Young, I don't think our church would be experimenting these positive changes. As a group of people, we benefit from the sacrifice of the bold who voice opposition to some of the problematic aspects of our church. Members who would never participate in this opposition still benefit from the advocacy of those the church has officially banished. It says, we'd love to have you organize something, and I try to help where I can, Jonas. Here is some correction to the English in your post. I will just type the whole thing to make it easier. Thank you, Katie. It's very professional. So this is my statement I'm supposed to read. I've been given the okay to arrange an XJW #AllReligionsMust protest portion of Jehovah's Witnesses to march in the Protect Every Child Children's March, which is an ecumenical movement. Sam Young, the founder of PEC, is hoping the march will be 5,000 men strong. I am hoping at least 20 of those marchers will be clearly identifiable as the JW fraction. We will get more media attention by having the JWs be clearly identified as a bloc among the marchers. It also highlights the fact that our shunning is way worse than, so we could never be able to achieve such a goal as 5,000 JW marchers. Because, in this case, 4,970 are still in captivity, PMOs. Would you like to help me arrange it? The Ecumenical Project Every Child March is happening on October 5th, 2019. Let's be there to draw attention to the plight of all children in all religions. That's the statement. And then the next message says, Jonas, here's the registration link. Sam wants people to use it, so I will post it. I will also to post this letter on my Facebook.
My goodness, can you imagine if they got 5,000 ex-Mormons and ex-JWs and got the media's attention on this? Oh my goodness, do you guys know what kind of message that would send to these religious organizations? Or I should say corporations posing as religious organizations?
That's right, because they are in it for business. They are in it for making money.
Yeah. So when one corporation gets in trouble, just like Watchtower did in Australia, oh, well, we got a new corporation, you know, this is our religion. And, you know, the poor rank and file doesn't even realize what's going on. They're kept ignorant.
Don't have a clue.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's sad.
All right.
It's really sad. So we've got to get back to work. We still are working on our floors. So.
Yeah, and what was it you said? Don't be looking for us to doing a video this weekend because we're busy, and here we are in front of the camera doing another video.
You're going to make this my fault?
Yes, I am.
But thank you, Candy, you know, for sending the video. It got us all riled this morning. And I wasn't going to do a video. You said... He's the one that got all fired up and said, we have to do a video about this. It's like, we got to finish our floor.
And I have more coming. Trust me, I've got more coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
And eventually, part 2 to the mythology video is going to be coming up soon, too. Because it's already been done. It just needs to be edited.
Well, you can learn to edit things, you know.
I could do that, but I wouldn't be as good and efficient as you are, dear.
So here in the United States, it's Labor Day weekend, and as usual, our 4-day Labor Day weekend is usually work. We don't get a holiday. Yeah. So you all have a wonderful Labor Day weekend, and we love you all. Bye.